What's up, guys, and welcome back to Built. We are going to be working on our one-off wide-body MGB GT today, and the plan is to make it fast. We made it super wide, we made it super low, and we stripped everything out of the interior. We put a fuel cell in it. We got the old engine running just really for learning purposes. It was actually the first engine I ever pulled and got running, so that was pretty cool. But it is going out today, and we're going to replace it with this. This beautiful piece of work right here is a Ford 302, also known as a 5.0. This one is an HO, or high output motor, so it makes a good bit of power. We're gonna make it make some more. But before we do that, I wanna get this motor in there and working. So before I get into performance, I wanna get into reliability, because if the car doesn't drive, then it doesn't matter if it's fast or if it has the ability to go fast. So we're gonna get it to drive first, and then we'll do heads, cam, your kind of typical American V8 recipe to make 350 to 400 horsepower. Now the framing's a little bit weird because I have a secret project over here that I'm gonna be working on really soon. I think you guys are gonna love. It's gonna be kind of a project to teach you guys how to wide body stuff if you're interested in doing it. I've done it enough now. I think we can break it down into some steps and it should be really fun. So I'm gonna have to hide that in this video because I can't move it right now. So if we've got some weird angles, weird framing, whatever, that's why. First step is going to be pulling this engine. Now the last time I pulled this engine, it took me like 7 hours. This time I think I can probably do it in a couple hours. I've got a lot more experience now in pulling engines and putting them back in. So we'll get that engine out, and then we're going to prep this engine to go in, as well as show you guys some stuff I got that's supposed to make this job a little bit easier. Let's do it. I'll say this, when I was doing the 911 engine and trans, I felt like it was overcomplicated and it was very frustrating, but after doing it one time, it is way easier to take out than this thing, and really any other engine and trans I've ever done. There's just so much that has to come off just to get this engine and transmission out. It was a little bit frustrating, but we got it out and it is gone. It will never go back in this car. and I'm happy about that. Now I've got to get this engine moved. It's very hard to move stuff on this concrete because it's so rough, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it back in the corner. I'm gonna put stuff back on it, and I'm gonna list it for sale. $400 will buy the engine and trans. They do run, they do work. If you want it, let me know. I'm just gonna put it on Facebook Marketplace. First 400 gets it, and it'll be gone. So let's get this thing out of the way, and we'll get the other engine prepped to kind of sit in there and just see what we're working with. Time bar at the bottom of the video. You might notice that today's video is a little bit shorter than normal. We worked on a pretty big project with one of our sponsors this week, a video project that hopefully you guys will get to see in the near future. It's going to be really fun, but that along with me going out of town this weekend means I just don't have as much time to work. So I'm going to get as much done as I can. We're going to do some really cool stuff here, really just get as much work out of the way as we can. And it'll just be our kind of engine prep video. And then the next video, we'll start actually assembling everything and getting it into the car. But let me show you what I got to hopefully make this easier. The first thing is the headers. The stock headers have horrible flow, so that's one issue, but they also are not small enough because we've got to have something that really hugs our block. I'm going to be sweating an immense amount. It's like, oh, I can tell you how hot it is in here. Hang on. I got this infrared thermometer for the Porsche so that I could monitor my temperatures. It's running great, by the way. Well, the temperatures are great. We've got some fuel and timing issues. 122 at the roof. There's no, is that right? Well, I thought that was gonna work. It's well over 100 degrees in this shop right now without the fans on. With the fans on, it's fine, but you can't hear me. So I'm gonna get this explaining done, and then we'll get the fans on. Anyway, what I got is a header called a block hugger. And it does, ooh, look how fancy that is. It does just that. The brand is, I'm not sure if that's God's Now or God 5 Now. I'm gonna go with God's Now. You can imagine this came from China. They look actually pretty cool though, pretty nice. And they're gonna do what we need them to do, and God 5 Now or God's Now is the brand. Not sponsored, and shouldn't be. So let's see, I think these, I wonder if these can go either way. On the LS, you can actually mount them like, or no, they go, on the LS it's upside down, like that. We're not gonna do that. All right, so these are gonna go on here. I guess that goes through there. Needless to say, these headers were very cheap. I don't actually expect like a performance game, but the size difference is gonna matter, and where the exit's gonna matter. I'm gonna stop talking because it's so hot. I'm gonna get a fan going, and we'll B-roll this. Here's a quick comparison. You can see the stock one has these indentions for your socket wrench. It's kinked pretty hard actually right at the exit. So you get this real kind of choking point. That gets rid of that. These get rid of that with some special hardware. It's a little bit smaller. So that's pretty cool. So they should flow a lot better than these kinked up stock ones. They should sound pretty good too. But more importantly, this is actually a reverse. You get the idea. These came out and then backwards, and we need to get out and under the engine as fast as possible, I think anyway. Now they do make a kit, or there's people that make these headers specifically for the MGB conversion, but I talked to one guy about some. They were like $500, and it just didn't seem worth it. These that I got were like $80, and I think we can make them work. If we can't make them work, then there's always the backup plan of using the really expensive ones, but we're gonna try these first and see if we can do something with them. All right, so the next problem to kind of resolve with this engine and getting it into our MG is our height issue. Now, the engine is already shrunk down a lot. By using a low profile intake and carburetor setup, we've taken out a lot of height. We'll cut this down and re-weld it, but I'm waiting on some welding gear to get here, so I'm trying not to weld too much today, and I'll wait till all that gets here. We can get new gas and all this other stuff that I need. But we need to cut this height down. So I think what I'm gonna do is we'll pull this bracket off. I found some low mount brackets for this engine, and we're gonna grab a low mount bracket that'll hold the alternator about right here instead of way up high, and that'll give us our hood clearance that we need so we can actually shut the hood when we put this massive engine in the car. Let's get this thing off. Another part of this swap that needs addressing is the oil filter. We're gonna have to remote mount it kind of over here on the fender well because there's just not enough space. This would hit the frame rail. I think the frame rail is actually gonna be like right here or something. I don't know, we'll see. So we're gonna have to remote mount that. So for now, I've gotta order that kit. I actually might have one. I need to look. But for now, we're going to just take the oil filter off, so we've got that clearance there. And with that, we are ready to install the first part of our mounting system for this engine. Check it out. So these are a kind of universal 302 mount, and we'll have to figure out which one goes where. I'm gonna bring you guys in closer so you can see what's going on. We just got this very simple setup here. Like this. Well, goes up. These are just mild steel, so we're gonna have to paint them eventually. But this engine will go in and out at least twice, maybe more, as we get everything to fit. So that last time it comes out, we'll blow everything apart, paint it, and put it back in. You see we got a little bit of movement there to place our engine, which is cool. And that's one. Let's do the other side. There we go. We have a 302 that looks much smaller now, but I had to get some more stuff. So I have to wait a little bit. I ordered a different kind of distributor that's kind of like an all-in-one. It's called an HEI, but it's basically a coil, distributor, module, all kind of in one thing. It's gonna simplify the wiring a little bit for this. So I got one of those on the way. I got a different water pump on the way because we're gonna run the belt a little bit differently, and that means we need a water pump that actually runs in a different direction. So I got one of those. I ordered, what else did I order? I ordered an alternator bracket so we can move our alternator down a little bit. And I think that's it. Might have got a few other things that we just need for the swap before this can be kind of placed in. Oh, I got a bell housing. I've got the transmission, but I didn't have a bell housing. So I ordered one of those as well, and a clutch and all that. So we had to put everything together and fit it into the car. I think we're gonna have to stop the video here because I'm just out of time. I've got to go out of town this weekend and I don't have any more time. So this is gonna be it. What we'll do in the next video is we'll pull out our subframe from the car and probably place it on the bench or something, and we will start working on our mounting system for this engine. Now we're gonna be able to do it all basically out of the car, or at least get to mock it up out of the car, and then put it back in. We'll test it, take it back out, weld it up, and we'll have a 302 powered MGB. So that's really exciting. I think I've ordered all the parts we need to be able to do this thing. So this is part one of what I'm hoping is like a 4-part series of getting this engine in. I think that's pretty realistic. It may be a 3, but we'll say 4. And so far, I'm pretty happy with how small the engine has gotten already. It's really looking pretty good. I don't know if these headers are gonna work. We can modify them, that's what we do. But we will know as soon as we put it in the frame rails if they're gonna be good or if we're gonna have to do something different. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit shorter than normal, but I do have another video coming out tomorrow that me and Chase made in collaboration together, and it's a pretty fun one, so make sure you come back to the channel tomorrow to check that one out. I'll see you in the next one.